This 11-piece faded maroon porcelain sign is the only remnant left of the once great Gaylynn Theater in Beaumont, Texas. Fastened together, the sign's overall length is 32 feet long, and each panel measures 6½ feet wide, and each letter in the sign was lit with neon lights. There was another set of these letters on the opposite side of the original sign, but they were thrown away with the rest of the sign during the demolition of the theater. The original complete sign was absolutely huge and covered in neon lights, which could have been seen from a far distance. Going into the Twin Cinema movie house as a kid in the 1950s and as a teenager in the 1960s and later as an adult in the 1970s and 1980s, I would always marvel at the beauty of all the neon of this sign, never once dreaming that I would actually own it or even this part of it. Walking under it, you couldn't help but look up and admire the dazzling glow of the neon. It's too bad the once complete sign wasn't originally taken down in one piece and put in a local museum somewhere here. We're probably going to mount it inside this shop of ours. At least it will be out of the damaging rays of the sun as well as out of the rain. We'll preserve it for the future generations, and hopefully they'll appreciate it as much as I do. If the shop is too small inside, we have a tall dust extractor building next to our shop. That will be okay. We printed off a couple of framed, glass-protected posters of the theater to display along with this sign, as well as a brief history of the Gaylynn Theater. The Gaylynn Theater in Beaumont has an interesting history and was once one of the city's most popular neighborhood movie houses, reflecting both the growth of Beaumont after World War II and the changing nature of American entertainment in the second half of the 20th century. The Gaylynn Theater was built during the late 1940s, a time when Beaumont was expanding rapidly to the north and west. It opened its doors on the 18th of November, 1949, welcoming audiences with the film The Girl from Jones Beach. Unlike the grand downtown movie palaces of earlier decades, the Gaylynn was designed as a modern neighborhood theater. It featured a streamlined modern style, which emphasized smooth lines and a sleek contemporary look. The theater also introduced features that were considered advanced at the time. These included a refreshment center, an eye-level balcony, and even a glass-enclosed cry room, where parents with small children could still enjoy movies. Built with materials supplied by local industry, including steel from Beaumont businesses, the Gaylynn stood as part of the city's post-war development. For decades, the Gaylynn Theater became a central part of everyday life in Beaumont. Located along 11th Street, an important local thoroughfare, it attracted families, teenagers, and especially students looking for weekend entertainment. Saturday matinees were especially popular, drawing children from across the area. Many residents later remembered these events as a defining part of growing up in Beaumont. As movie-going habits changed, the theater adapted. In 1975, the Gaylynn was remodeled into a two-screen theater created by converting the balcony into a second auditorium. During this era, it showed a mix of mainstream films and special screenings, including late-night showings that became popular in the late 1970s and early 1980s. By the 1980s, like many older theaters across the United States, the Gaylynn began to face increasing competition from newer multiplex cinemas and changing entertainment trends. Attendance declined, and maintaining the aging building became more difficult. The theater ultimately closed in 1988, ending nearly 4 decades of operation. After sitting unused for several years, the Gaylynn Theater site was purchased as part of a broader redevelopment effort. In 2002, the building was demolished to make way for an expansion of a nearby hospital complex. Its demolition marked the loss of another historic landmark in Beaumont, something that longtime residents noted with sadness. For many, the theater was more than just a place to watch movies. It was tied to memories of childhood, family outings, and the social life of the community. Although the building no longer exists, the Gaylynn Theater represents an important chapter in Beaumont's history. It reflected post-war suburban growth and the shift away from downtown entertainment. It showed how theaters evolved, from single-screen venues to multi-screen formats. Most importantly, It served as a shared cultural space for generations of local residents. Today, the Gaylynn lives on mainly through photographs, records, and the memories of those who once sat in its seats watching films, socializing with friends, and experiencing the magic of the movies in mid-20th century.